Thanks again, everyone, for joining us in the training today for United Way ambassadors. So I'll take us to our agenda first of all. So we've done a little bit of introductions and our icebreaker. So we'll switch now to looking at why the United Way. As you're working with people in your units, in your departments, you might get a lot of this question. People might ask you, why should I donate to the United Way? Or they might be interested in knowing why you are volunteering with the United Way and why it's a worthwhile organization for them to support. And then we'll also go to looking at the role of the ambassador and some more technical or practical aspects that you might want to know about as we go through the campaign this year. I will also be sending some of that information to you by email. We will be posting this video on our U of W United Way campaign page, as well as the PowerPoint as well, if you need to come back and refer to it afterwards. And then we'll have some questions and FAQs towards the end of the presentation. So I will ask if you can keep your questions until the end of the presentation, and then we'll set aside some time to answer any questions. The United Way is focused on creating opportunities for everyone. United Way Winnipeg specifically is focused on making those opportunities available to people within our city. United Way believes that everyone who lives here should have the opportunity to overcome any challenges they might have and realize their potential. So the donors and volunteers working with the United Way focus on helping kids to be all that they can be, moving people from poverty to possibility, and building healthy people and strong communities. Any donation to the United Way is more than just a gift. It's an investment in the people of this city and a commitment to our communities. That is the main reason why the United Way is such a great organization to invest in for all of us. And the great thing about the United Way is that it provides stable funding to agency partners within the city who are working in the community with thousands of Winnipeggers from day to day. So that means that these organizations can focus on providing the services that they are focused on and helping the people of the city without having to worry about applying for funding, which takes a lot of time and effort. So they can just focus on doing their jobs. So each year, the gifts that are donated to the United Way by Winnipeggers are pulled together, and this helps to smooth the ups and downs of individual giving choices. Organizations that work with the United Way can rely on stable funding throughout the year, and this is very, very powerful. The United Way works with a network of more than 100 agencies and programs within Winnipeg. And these agencies and programs work in every neighborhood in the city. The generosity of our donors makes this network of support possible. Members of a single family who might need help from multiple agencies and programs can always access the services that are available when the help is needed the most. Again, with pooled donating, United Way donors are able to tackle emerging and complex issues, which are sometimes not on the radar of individual donors, and it provides stability to our partner agencies. So that is the power of collective giving, which allows us to accomplish more together than we ever could on our own. Another important reason to support the United Way is that it helps to build capacity and ensure accountability in terms of how donations are used to support different community organizations and different causes within the city. It allows us to connect around a common goal as a community. And the United Way and its partner agencies make use of research in doing the work that they do and providing the services that they provide. So in terms of building capacity, the United Way brings community organizations together to share best practices and standardize evaluation procedures, and also to ensure an integrated approach to better serve the city. So working with partners, we can help to strengthen the nonprofit sector and its effective and efficient service delivery. In terms of accountability, the United Way has volunteer panels that evaluate and make recommendations for investing the dollars that the United Way receives into different programs which make a real impact on people's lives. The United Way volunteers also work with agency partners to evaluate their impact and to help improve their ability to deliver effective programs and services. Connecting people around a common goal is done by partners from all sectors working together to create integrated responses to the complex community issues that occur throughout the city, like poverty and homelessness and unemployment, and also drawing on each other's experience and expertise and influence to address underlying causes. This allows the United Way to have a lasting impact. The research that the United Way and partner agencies do helps to make the biggest difference possible because it provides a background and a foundation that's solid that the United Way and the partner agencies can use. Another wonderful thing about the United Way is that any donations, any gifts go directly to the community organizations. That's thanks to our partner, the province of Manitoba, which since 1978 has been providing funding for administrative activities. So every dollar that our co-workers donate will go directly to the agencies working within the city. Now, the United Way has been working very diligently within the city since the start of the pandemic, and the pandemic has taken a huge toll within our communities. We can see it. We've felt it ourselves, many of us, and the United Way is focused on working on pandemic relief over the next couple of years to help people get back on their feet if they've been affected by the pandemic in a large way. The United Way has identified 3 critical areas that are key for recovery from the pandemic, and we'll cover those in a moment. One of the main targets is to raise monies to help focus on those 3 areas. One of those major areas is mental health and addiction support. So the United Way is working with 36 agencies that provide counseling and wellness services and 17 agencies that serve individuals who are experiencing homelessness or who are precariously housed. So if we can support the United Way, then we can support these agencies to help in this critical recovery area. The United Way has found that 71% of Manitobans feel that their mental health has been worse since the start of the pandemic, and depression and anxiety are at their highest level. The pandemic has, of course, exacerbated existing conditions for some and triggered new challenges for other people. Suicide is the leading cause among Canadian kids aged 10 to 14, and this has been exacerbated by the pandemic. 25% of Canadians are drinking more, and opioid overdoses have hit an all-time high in Winnipeg, with drug overdose deaths increasing by 87%. The second critical issue that the United Way has identified is family supports, which are greatly needed now more than ever. Already before COVID-19, Manitoba already had the highest rate of children in care, and this was exacerbated by the pandemic. Many families are struggling to pay their bills and purchase essentials, such as food, baby formula, and supplies. During the lockdown last year, calls to domestic violence helplines also doubled. But thankfully, we have 24 agencies within Winnipeg who provide family supports. And again, 17 agencies providing supports for people experiencing homelessness. And so this can help to lower the stress in families and also help to ensure that anyone in distress has a safe place where they can go to right away. The next critical issue that the United Way is focusing on this year is job readiness and training, which is going to be very important for recovery. Indigenous women and families were the hardest hit when women's shelters had to reduce hours, staffing, and access to job training resources over the past year and a half. 1 in 5 Manitobans has applied for CERB, the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, and over a third of recent immigrants employed in February 2020 lost their job or the majority of their hours by the end of April last year. So this is going to be very important to help our city get back on its feet. The United Way has 12 agencies that provide life and employment skills training within the city, and also asset building, money management, and financial empowerment programs. So any funds that people provide to the United Way can make a big difference in these agencies. Another wonderful service that the United Way has supported is 211. 211 is a service that was started last year. It is a centralized resource that offers information to Winnipeggers for support services within the city. So people can access 211 via phone or through the mb.211.ca website. And some of the areas that they can get referrals for through this service is mental health supports, addiction treatment, parenting resources, income tax clinics, and so much more. So this is a wonderful new resource that we have to help anyone who is needing any kind of supports in the city. Now that's some of the information that we can provide to people as we are meeting with them one-on-one or in groups, or if they have any questions for us throughout the course of the campaign this year. And I'll just give a little bit of information about the campaign. We're going to be starting our campaign on November 3rd. The campaign is going to kick off with a launch event from 12:30 to 1:20 p.m. that day. It will be $5 to join, and an invite will be emailed to everyone. And Dave Kirk will be our host for the launch event. So as Megan mentioned, we'll have trivia and games and lots of fun and prizes available. And in terms of our targets, we are going to be looking at reaching similar targets to last year. So the numbers that we have up right now are the final numbers from last year. We were able to raise $97,859 for our campaign. We're very grateful for the help that we received from ambassadors last year to raise that amount of money, with a total participation rate of 17.52%. This year, we're hoping to raise $100,000, which was similar to our goal last year. In terms of what we can do as ambassadors to support the campaign, there are three main steps that we can undertake in order to help the campaign be a success this year. And the first is to build and strengthen understanding of the United Way and its impact in the community. So we can use some of the information that I've covered already in this presentation, just to let people know about what the United Way does within the city and the impact that it has within Winnipeg. And so we can become familiar with United Way resources. We'll have a link to those in the email that I'll be sending. And also to reflect on our past experiences as an ambassador. It's very powerful if we can tell people about why we are volunteering with the United Way, and our past experience can help to give people more of an insight into the impact that the United Way has on the city. The second step we can undertake as ambassadors is to work as a team and connect peer-to-peer with our coworkers. So if people have questions for you, you can feel free to set up an appointment to meet with them as a group or individually, and you can meet virtually or in person, and you can answer any questions that they have via email if they prefer, or phone if that's preferable, and just to provide information that can be helpful to them in making a decision about whether or not they can support our campaign this year. And if there's ever anything that you are unsure of, or questions that you have that were brought to you by your coworkers, then you can definitely let any of us on the campaign committee know. And finally, we can act to help people with making pledges through the United Way website or using the paper pledge form. So we will be using both of those this year, since we are back into the office in large part. So we can ask coworkers to consider a gift or donation to the United Way for the campaign this year. We can thank them if they do support the campaign. And if they're using paper pledge forms, then we can turn those into myself or anyone else on the campaign committee, and then we'll have those processed for the donation. And of course, as we're working with our coworkers and other people in our unit, it's very important for us to respect donor privacy and to ensure that we mention to our coworkers that the United Way does respect their privacy, so they can be assured that their information isn't going to be lost or shared with anyone who shouldn't have it. And I will be sending out the privacy policy for this year. So this is a picture of the paper pledge form for this year, and the main information that we need to have in there is, of course, contact information. And we also need any payment information that someone would like to use. There are two options for people. They can use a payroll deduction. So that means every pay period, a certain amount will be taken off of their pay, and it'll be automatically sent to United Way Winnipeg. The other option is a one-time payment via credit card. So if they prefer that option, then they can use the credit card section. And again, once this form is completed, then you can return it to myself or anyone else on the committee, and we'll have it forwarded to the United Way for processing. The other option is the online ePledge site. These are screenshots of the site. If someone is interested in using the ePledge site instead, there will be instructions that we'll send on the day of the launch. So those instructions will tell ambassadors about the process for people to make their donation. And also you'll get a link to activate your ambassador account for this year. In the ambassador account, you will have a list of all the people within your unit that you're responsible for, and it will say whether or not they have responded to the call for pledges. It will not say if they have donated or have not, just if they have responded. And that's done to respect donor privacy. So I'll just actually go back to that ePledge slide, just to reiterate that sometimes workplaces might think that they don't have to canvass if they're using the ePledge option, but it is important because a lot of people say they didn't donate because no one asked them. So each year we do want to canvass just to serve as a reminder to people. It also gives them the opportunity to ask any questions and increase their donation amount if they would like, or make any adjustments. So even if someone chooses to use the ePledge option, we do want to get in touch with them, answer any questions they have, and ask them to respond to the call for donations if they haven't already. This is just a list of the information that we'll be sending in the email. And as you're going through the information, or if you're going through the PowerPoint after the training session, just feel free to let us know, and we'll get back to you with a response. So some frequently asked questions that you might get as you are speaking with people in your unit. Some people might ask, again, why should I donate to the United Way? Why should I give a gift to them? What makes the United Way different from other donation options, other agencies? And so again, we can just mention to people that because we're all pooling our money into one organization, this allows a stable funding to partner agencies. It allows for those agencies to do their work without worrying about applying for funding. And it means that we can have a greater impact in different areas of need. Some might ask where the money goes once it's donated. All of the money, again, goes directly to the partner agencies that we're working with in the city. And none of it goes to administration costs, and that's thanks to the government of Manitoba. Some people might be worried about their personal information and the safety of that information once it is transferred to the United Way. The United Way, it adheres to all Canadian legislation regarding donor privacy and information privacy. That means that the United Way is not going to sell or trade people's personal information. It's only gathered for the express purpose of processing a donation or a pledge for the campaign, and it will not be used for any other purposes. And some might wonder why the United Way should be the one to decide where their donation dollars go, how it's used. Decisions surrounding United Way's community investments are guided by a group of senior volunteers with supportive professional staff. And together, this group spends thousands of hours researching community issues, effective practices, and investments. And it reviews and monitors those investments to ensure that every dollar is achieving the maximum results. There is accountability and there is monitoring to ensure that the money is being effectively used to make the greatest impact possible. The next question that we often hear is, why should I give? I never use these services. The programs that the United Way funds operate throughout the city in every single neighborhood, and they offer so many varied services. So there is actually a good chance that a person has used the services that the United Way offers. The United Way is like our community safety fund. So if we can give to that community safety fund, then it'll be available to us whenever we need it. Finally, how do we know if we are making a difference? So this one is a really good question that we sometimes get. The United Way works very closely with the agency partners to monitor and measure the effectiveness of all of the investments that they're making. Each year, the partners report on the results of their programs, along with the number of participants who use their programs and services. Together with hundreds of personal stories and testimonials of lives changed, this evidence provides a powerful case for the impact that Winnipeggers are having through the United Way. So there is always an accounting and always an evaluation at the end of each period to make sure that the funding is going to the most effective uses in order to support communities within the city. So that is the end of the presentation portion of the training.